Hi everyone, I'm Natasha Bray. Welcome to this chat with the lovely Laura Truesdale. So Laura is actually one of our Heart Healing certification graduates, but a lot more than that. Laura's been a therapist for a very long time and she's incredible at what she does. I'm just going to hand you over to Laura now to tell you a bit more about the work that she does, her experience and who she helps. So over to you, Laura.
Okay. Well, I am a licensed social worker and licensed addiction counselor in South Carolina in the United States. I've been in practice for 24 years. It doesn't feel like that, but so predominantly I work with adolescents all the way through adults in my private practice, working with individuals who have depression, anxiety, substance use disorder, and trauma. And trauma healing has been a big focus of mine in the last, I would say, 7 to 10 years. And so I became introduced to heart healing, and it's just been an added bonus to the work that I do.
Yeah, wow. So lots of experience and lots of very important work that you've been doing for 2 decades, more than 2 decades. I know you don't look old enough, Laura, for that.
I don't feel that old.
And yes, obviously I resonate a lot with your background as well, also having worked in addictions previously in social work and homeless services. So you have lots of training, of course, to be in the role that you're in. Like off the top of your head, how many different training modalities, certificates have you done?
Oh, wow. Let's see. Oh gosh. Well, you know, the main ones that I have done is I'm trained in EMDR, I'm trained in BLAST, really cognitive behavior therapy, trained in a lot of DBT skills. I've also, oh gosh, now certified in hypnotherapy. I mean, the number of really long, intensive trainings, I would say would have been predominantly around trauma treatment, but over the years of all the addiction training. So I think I figured out one time when in one of our sessions that we were in, looking at like hundreds, most probably of thousands, possibly dollars in training and grad school and all that. So it was just really impressive to realize I really should charge more for what I do. So yeah.
Definitely. So I think, like, you know, key point is you are extremely experienced, and you know, I don't think our learning is ever complete, is it? When we specialize in a certain area, there's always more to learn, more to help clients with. So, you know, having all of this experience that you have and already getting amazing results, of course, with your clients, what drew you to coming and joining us for the heart healing?
Well, one of the biggest things was through a colleague who also became kind of a mentor. She had been trained in heart healing, and she introduced it to me. She actually conducted some therapy sessions with me using heart healing, and she literally just said, "Hey, I think you should do this, and here is the information for, you know, Natasha Bray and heart healing." And I was like, okay. So I literally just signed up immediately. And because of what I experienced in my, just my personal experience, I had no concept about what I was really getting myself into. And so it's there was a little bit of intrepidation at first, but then getting involved with the training, it just was most probably, I would say, one of the most important decisions I've ever made for myself, personally and professionally.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you for saying that. So I love also how you just trusted your colleague, your mentor, who was like, I think you need this. And you just, no questions.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, I'm there.
Yeah. And she, you know, it started out as she became a consultant, and then she introduced me to BLAST, and I got such amazing results with BLAST. And then she mentioned, and she did heart healing with me. And I was like, wow, what is that? And so, you know, she just explained it to me, and then just literally one day sent me an email and said that you were offering an upcoming training. And I was like, okay. So I just did it. And again, best choice is probably I've made in the last other than going out in private practice, that was the second best choice I've ever made. Because the first one I worked 20 something years, predominantly in an organization. And so private practice was a big step. So then joining, Heart Healing was most probably the best step after that I've ever made. So
we are honored that you think that. So thank you so much for sharing. And can you remember, I know obviously you've been graduated a little while now, but can you remember back to the start and, going through that experience of heart healing yourself, because it's not just the training, you experience it. What things started to change for you? What was different about it, I guess, to anything you'd done before?
Well, I think the biggest difference was that I've processed a lot of my things that I've gone through in my life. But I never felt change in myself. Like on a very, rational kind of conscious level, I could see how the things I've been through have impacted me. But what really blew me away was making the connections between a lot of things in my life and how I have been a people pleaser, how I fawned, especially around men. And some of the things that I went through, and even the patterns of relationships and those kind of things, it all started to make so much sense. And just also the dynamics I have within my own family, and why I kind of serve the role that I have served in my family. So just personally was just transformational. And I think one of the biggest things is I never thought that I could do everything that I wanted to do. Like I've always been an overachiever, but I've always felt like I can do this, but to only a certain level. And I think heart healing made me realize so many things about myself as a woman, as a human being, about myself spiritually. I mean, I've changed so much personally and professionally since I started experiencing heart healing, and then the training. It mind-blowing, doing the work with my partner, and even the session I did with you, a session I've done with Anne Marie has just been phenomenal. The things that I've learned, and I feel like I'm just a different woman. Like the dialogue that I used to have in my head does not exist anymore. I know I have an amazing gift. I know that I can achieve whatever I want to. Obviously, there's still little things that I have to get over a little bit, but I have such confidence now. And I just, I've known since I was a young child that I was meant to be a healer, but now I just feel like I've found, I don't know, there's just something spiritual that's happened for me too, throughout this process, that I know without a shadow of a doubt that I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. And that came again, I had experienced prior to the training, but then the intensity of the training was it's just life-changing. It really is. I'm rambling now, but it's phenomenal.
No, I'm like, okay, I've got to remember all that to respond. Thank you. I do think, though, even as the person who's developed heart healing and teaching heart healing, and I've been using heart healing since probably around 2019, and I still can't fully explain the power of it. It's almost like one of those things that you have to experience, isn't it? To really truly understand.
Yeah.
Wow, what just happened to me? That was incredible. And anybody gets results, whatever level of healing or therapy they've had before. But I'm very intrigued usually when someone has been through a lot of healing and training and personal development, and how mind blown often people are, what to the whole, how fast, how deep, in a different way than before.
Yeah, it feels like constantly, every time I have a session, that it's another light bulb that goes off, and I go, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense now, why I did or why I felt. And but what's also nice is that it feels like it sinks into you. It's not like you have a session with someone and, in therapy, and you're like, oh, that was really great, really helpful. I gained some insights. But then, a few weeks later, you kind of, I forgot what we talked about, or it didn't seem to last. But it just feels like it's just, it's kind of almost like on a DNA level. Like it feels like it changes. It's that spiritual, energetic just shift. Like I cannot see myself going back to old patterns, because that's no longer even remotely who I am, because I have seen the why, the where, and also I think I've learned so much about me. And just one thing that's so amazing about you is that your desire to help women see their potential and then some is just, it's so encouraging and so motivating. Like you don't want to stop at just gaining insight. You want to keep seeing how much more, and not in a way that's like the overachiever, I have to prove myself, but as like, oh wow, I can do it. Like I know now I am so more capable than I've ever thought I was, if that makes sense.
Love that. That's the trust we're showing up there, and we've healed that. So now you're more capable, more trusting in yourself. And I love the bit you mentioned about the spiritual piece as well, especially because, as we say, the heart is the portal to the soul. And this piece again, also that I see in quite a lot of women, obviously me also having a social work and psychology background, almost like we've hidden that spiritual piece of us, or the healer, the spiritual. It's not like okay in our professions to be like that. Right. Can you a little bit on that?
Well, it's kind of interesting is that I really have over the last 3 years, started undertaking this journey for myself. But the spiritual piece really I've always had a strong faith. Grew up as a Christian, but my faith and my spirituality have expanded over the last 3 years. I feel very guided by God. I feel like on a spiritual level that I've encountered him in my heart healing. One of the most beautiful moments I had was recognizing I was angry at God because of my divorce. But I had this beautiful in a heart healing session with a past life, which is kind of cool because I was so like not open to that until heart healing kind of came around. And I had a conversation with the past life who was also angry, and I felt God's presence. And he said, I had to put you there to get you here. And that instantly everything melted, all my anger, all my disappointment, at that version of my life not working out disappeared. And spiritually, I just feel connected. I'm still working on being more in tune to my own intuition, but I just feel like there is such a spiritual connection for me. I feel like for me, it's God ordained. Like I've known like that this is what I was supposed to do since I was 12. And he's been with me the entire time, but specifically in heart healing, I have felt spiritually, I felt him the whole process. And I'm the type of person that has always asked, please remove anything or anyone that stands in the way of what you have for me. And he has consistently put more amazing things that lead me to more of a broader sense of spirituality, a broader sense of him. And heart healing is just one of those things that was just mind-blowing, is that I have such a strong faith, and I believe that God has had his hand in every moment of my training as a therapist and a healer, but he's been very present in this process with me. And I'm more open to angels. And one of the really amazing thing was that I experienced with Anne Marie, was her mentioning my angel with me. And that's been a new thing because angel wings are my sign, or is a sign for me. And she mentioned angel wings around me, and I just like burst into tears in that session because it just connected, all the dots are connecting, and spiritual. And I've found with my clients as well that the spiritual piece has allowed them to connect to people on a level they never wanted to before. And that piece, that ability to talk to the unwounded version of the soul is just so powerful. So there's just so many beautiful aspects of spirituality in it for me.
Yeah, and just for anyone watching, heart healing is a mix of the science and the spiritual. And, you know, even if you feel like you're not an overly spiritual person yourself, it's so cool, but it just opens your heart to that. Your, you know, your spiritual self is an important part of becoming your whole self as well. So it's very natural how the spiritual piece is integrated, and it only really goes as spiritual as the person receiving it is ready for as well, I think. But it is one of the key differences, I would say, between mainstream modalities or, you know, trainings you might have had in a job or a career, don't tend to incorporate that spiritual side. So a lot of the people who come to train with us, they really love and value that. And also it opens up a lot for them spiritually as well. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. Can you talk a little bit more about, you know, your clients, and obviously without revealing any personal details, as I know you wouldn't, but, you know, how has it been using heart healing with clients? And you touched on it there a little bit, but what sort of impact have you seen?
Well, I think one of the ones that stuck out to me the most was a client who, prior to me, well, literally a couple of prior to us being able to start practicing and being able to start do level 1 work, is I had a client who revealed sexual abuse by her grandparent, and had a very interesting relationship up until his death. And after his death, I think that was when she finally felt some freedom to acknowledge it to her husband and then to me. But the heart healing session that I did with her was so powerful, because she said the thing that imprinted on my brain was like, this was the first time since she was a little girl that she felt she could be in her own body now without fear and without judgment. Like, she felt full, I mean, connected and whole again. And so I've just seen it take clients to levels that, you know, I've made a lot of amazing progress with clients through EMDR and BLAST, but there's something about the heart healing that that just allowed that ability to say all those things that need to be said, that allow the freedom to do it in a safe way, in a way that feels like it feels like it's heard by the other person. And then being able to, you know, we did a loving disconnection, and it was just a beautiful way for her to take her power back. And I've seen that. I've also seen it work with, I have another sweet, precious young man who's an engineer, very intellectual. You know, every time I would talk to him about feelings, he would be like, I don't know what you mean. Like, I just feel, and where he feels it in his body. But I did heart healing with him, and he was like, wow, like that all started to really sink into me. Like, I felt all of your words just sink into me. And this was a young man that I couldn't get him to go inward to for anything, for ego state therapy or EMDR or BLAST. But when in heart healing, he said, wow, that just feels amazing. It feels amazing to be able to let all those amazing things just sink into my body, and being able to truly hear all the words that cognitively I could have spoken to him in any session, and I did, but in heart healing, he actually let them sink in and let them kind of just really become a part of himself. So I've seen it do amazing things with clients that I've been long-term clients that I have been working with, that we hadn't gotten to that level, that one piece that just felt like it was missing. I feel like I have worked with clients who've been in therapy for, you know, I have one client who's been in therapy for 40 years, and he's made more progress using heart healing than he has in 40 years, you know, and that he keeps coming back because he keeps wanting to, you know, one more layer, and just keeps wanting to. Yeah. So it's just been phenomenal to see it work with clients, that long-term clients, It's also been really cool. I've had a couple of people who are what I call not therapy clients. They're people who are just coming for heart healing. And it's really cool to see that these people also have done therapy before ever meeting me, and then noticing such a shift after one session. So it's just been phenomenal. I'm super excited to see where the heart healing part of my practice goes.
Yeah. And this obviously, you know, heart healing as a modality is very powerful, but it combines with you and the skills and gifts that you already have as well. And I really love that you shared about some male clients there as well, because obviously I work with women, and you know, I think there might be a little bit of a judgment or perception that heart healing is only for women, but actually it works so powerfully with men clients and with men as well. And yeah, really, as you were talking, it's almost like it collapses timelines and the healing journey, like something that might take years or might never be reached in a different modality or therapy. Every therapy and modality has its purpose. You know, I really believe that it helps.
Absolutely.
There's something about heart healing that the journey is like much quicker for some reason. And
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I've seen more aha moments. I guess that would be like the ones where they're like, oh, wow. And I love to see the men that I work with and that I've used it. I've seen really cool changes with them. Like, you know, because men traditionally don't engage as much in the therapy process, but with every male that I've worked with, and I've mentioned it to them, they have been quick to say, let's do it. I want to try it. And it's been really, I've seen several of the men that I work with regain this level of confidence that they've been wanting in their lives. And they're showing up for their wives. They're showing up differently in their businesses. They're showing up in ways that they've never shown up before after doing heart healing. So I think it works. You know, used it with some teens. So it works for, I don't typically see children. I see teenagers. So I'm not going to the little side yet, but yeah, I've seen it work for everybody. It's amazing.
Thank you for sharing all of that. And we do have some people that use it with children as well, but yes, so that is an option too, if anyone watching this is thinking about using that with children. Obviously a lot more other things to consider, which we cover in the training as well. Tell me a little bit about your experience of the training as well. What did you think of it? Again, how is it different?
Well, I think the length of time and the amount of information, it is so thorough, and it is a lot of information, and it is an investment in time in yourself and in what you want to achieve. But I think it is so well worth all the hours, the videos, all the internal work that we do as a part of that. I think it's most probably the best training I've ever experienced, as far as the amount of information, how well it's put together, and the ongoing support. My favorite parts, though, were the live sessions, whether it be with you or Kirsty. They were just always wonderful and always got a lot of wonderful feedback. And then the other piece that's so beautiful about it is the connections you make with other women. Because now I feel like I have these amazing women who are in my corner, who live all over all corners of the world now, and not just in my own, my own state, but it's the relationships too. But the training is phenomenal. Everything ran so smoothly. I never was left feeling lost. It was always, everything was very well timed. So I had no complaints at all with any part of the training. I loved every moment of it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I feel like we should get you to write our marketing for us.
Well, thanks. But it really was, again, I am kind of one of those people that I just get so excited when I talk about heart healing and I talk about what's happening with my clients. And I use a lot of my own personal transformation to talk about with my clients about what I've noticed in myself. And honestly, I think even if I never used heart healing, anything else, the work that I did for myself was priceless. And I know that it in general just made me a better human being, a better woman, a better mom, a better partner. So everything about it is well worth it. But I'm excited that I'm one of the, I guess, less than 40 right now in the US that have been trained in such an amazing modality and are, able to really impact people in my community. I'm looking forward to seeing how it expands outside of my area as well. Hopefully for me too, not just in the state of South Carolina.
Yeah, well, yes, I know we are small but mighty, aren't we? We've got like 120 practitioners around the world. Small but making an impact. I guess that is heart healing. It's like, it's in an hour. You would not believe what you can do in an hour. Small and mighty. That is
small and mighty. Yeah, that is. And it's beautiful. Everything about it is beautiful and safe, supported. Just again, the word transformational is just that in and of itself. That's it. That's its essence.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know we're running out of time, but quickly, what transformation have you seen in your business as a result of that then? So obviously with clients, but...
Well, definitely one of the things is that I'm kind of a slow mover, I guess, in some ways, because I've been doing this for how I've been doing it for so long. But what is really exciting to me is I've now reached out, personally hired a virtual assistant that's going to help me really streamline the process so I can get more people in to do heart healing, and that I'm going to really specialize and market one niche of people for heart healing. I'm still going to utilize it with my clients, but I want to expand it. So I'm excited about where that's going. I took a big step, I think, learning from, the decide, detach, do. I'm doing that, and I'm trying to just step out, knowing that this is exactly what I need to do. So far, I have had I've had 2 level 1 heart healing packages sold, and I've had 1 level 2. So I'm super excited, and I just know that good, amazing things are coming. I just have to give myself a little patience that all things aren't going to happen as quickly every day with everybody else. But yeah.
But no, you doing incredible work with heart healing. Like, you already had a full therapy practice before you came into heart healing, so to fit all of the training in and practicing, and also be almost adding this new avenue to your business, like, it's phenomenal, really phenomenal. Thank you.
I needed that.
Yeah. Yes, leave the comparison alone. Like, yeah,
right.
You're doing a good job. Thank you for being here. And if anyone wants to find out more about your heart healing packages, can you give them a link where they can, a website, or where they can contact you?
Well, I do have a website. It's Laura Truesdale Counseling, and it's truesdalecounseling.com. So I would love for anyone to reach out to me, and people can contact me directly on my website.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you for being here, Laura. You've given an amazing insight into some of the fab work that you've been doing, and also into the heart healing certification. If anyone's thinking that they want to join Laura and join us in the School of Healing Mastery and come and become a heart healing practitioner, do reach out. We are enrolling for the September cohort now. We only have 2 cohorts a year. So you can contact me on Facebook or on my email, info@schoolofhealingmastery.com. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for watching.
Natasha.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.